Hi, and welcome to the Money Tips No One Told You podcast, presented by First Pioneers Federal Credit Union. Here at First Pioneers, we're passionate about helping not only our members, but our community become financially successful. That success often starts with basic knowledge, things like knowing how different account types work, to understanding terminology, or even tips that make your life easier. The more you know, the more success you will have as you handle your money and your finances. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Heather, Marketing Director at First Pioneers Federal Credit Union. And today we're talking about a different kind of savings that I'm not sure is often on people's minds. And some actually really don't understand it. And that's CDs. And no, I don't mean the things that play music. A CD in the financial world stands for Certificate of Deposit. So a certificate of deposit is basically a savings account offered by a financial institution that holds a fixed amount of money for a fixed period of time. And that period of time can vary. It's also usually at a premium interest rate in exchange for leaving the money untouched during the term of this CD. So it's a great way to grow your money safely. While it's really another form of a savings account, a lot of people look at it as one of their investments. An investment is the action of investing money for profit, so both are true. It seems to me a lot of people aren't really aware of the advantages of this type of account. So let's get into what this really means and how a CD might be something that can be helpful for you and your future. 4 things I would consider when looking at a CD. Number 1, interest rate. 2, the term or the length of the agreement. 3, the principal or the deposit amount. And 4, the financial institution, because they're the ones that determine the terms of the agreement, like the rate, the penalties for withdrawals, and things like that. Let's start with rates. The rate offered on a CD, well, on really any product, is up to the financial institution, and the rates can vary. What that means is just because one credit union or bank offers a certain rate, it doesn't guarantee that others will offer that same rate. Each financial institution sets their own. So with that in mind, if you're interested in opening a CD, it might be a good idea to shop around and see what rates are being offered. I will say this though, it really is true that a credit union will often offer higher rates. And that's not just a bias because I love my credit union. It really is true. Now, interest rates on CDs are generally fixed. And the good thing about that, with a fixed rate, you won't lose any interest if rates go down. Of course, the disadvantage there is that if rates go up, you won't be able to take advantage of those either. But at least you know what your yield will be. As you consider rates, keep an eye out for special promotions that may offer a higher rate. Sometimes a credit union or a bank will offer specials where their rates are higher, and that could just really be a great thing to take advantage of if you can. Number 2 is term or length of agreement. A length could be as short as 6 months or as long as 60 months. During this term, you're agreeing to leave the funds you deposited in your account without penalty. If you choose to withdraw your money before the term is up, you'll have to pay a penalty. And what a lot of people don't realize is the longer the term of the CD, the higher the penalty if you withdraw early. So if you do choose to withdraw early, you'll still receive any interest your investment earned up to that point, just minus the penalty. A couple of things to consider when choosing a term. Is there a time you'll need the money you've deposited? For example, let's say you have money set aside for college tuition or a down payment on a house, but you don't need it right away. Putting it in a CD for a time could help you grow that money before you need to use it. If you need it sooner, you could choose a shorter term. If it's something more long-term like retirement, maybe choose a longer term. The truth, most financial institutions actually prefer the longer terms, so you'll often see higher rates the longer the term. So if you leave the money in longer, you'll see a higher return on that investment. Just make sure you consider both the terms and the rates that will work for you and your situation when you're choosing a CD. Now, when the term of your CD ends, this is called the maturity date. At that point, you have a few options as to what you can do with your funds. This is the point where you can withdraw the funds with no penalty. And an easy way to do that is to have them deposited into another account of yours, and then you can start to access it. Another option is to reinvest the money. You may hear it referred to as rolling the CD. This means you're going to let the money stay in that account and renew at the same term length and with whatever the current interest rate is at the time that it renews. Now, that could be higher or it could be lower. It depends on where interest rates are at that point. If you roll the entire amount, including the interest you've earned, you'll compound your interest. In other words, you earn interest on the interest. So even more growth for your money. You can also choose to put the money in a different CD at a different term. An important note to remember, at the time of maturity, the interest from your CD can be sent to you in the form of a check or deposited into one of your other accounts if you choose that versus rolling it over for that extra earning. I'd choose the extra earning. The good news is most financial institutions will offer you a grace period for you to make a decision on what you want to do. Usually that's going to be 30 days before your CD auto renews. Next on our list is principal, which is actually pretty simple. It's the amount of the deposit. The financial institution will determine the minimum amount required to open a CD. And while most do require a minimum, it can be as low as $1,000. And there are actually some that won't require a minimum at all. Just make sure you ask before you decide how you want to invest. The last thing on our list is the financial institution itself, because they're the ones that determine all the aspects of the agreement, like early withdrawal penalties and what happens to the investment when it matures if you don't provide instructions. So make sure you ask what the terms of the agreement are so you know what to do when the account matures. Now, after hearing all this, maybe you're asking yourself, is a CD better than a savings account or a money market account? Well, that depends on you and your needs. A money market or a savings account allows you to add to your account at any time. You can also do a certain number of withdrawals a year. And if you feel you're going to need to access your money or that you want to add to it, one of these accounts may be a better option for you over a CD. The biggest advantage of a CD really is the interest rate. It would be rare for a regular savings or even money market account to offer a similar rate to a CD. So if you can leave the money in the account without having to access it, a CD is a great option to consider. Speaking of rates, let's talk about those for a minute. I've had several people ask me, how do they set interest rates? Not only does the length or the term of the CD play a role in the interest rate, the numbers are often affected by the federal rates. Look, if I'm honest, the entirety of how that works gets a little complicated, but the short answer is a financial institution will consider the federal funds rate when they set their rates. It's a base they use for really any account that deals with interest. So if you see the Fed fund rates go up, you may see the financial institutions follow suit. Same if they go down. I want to say, though, that isn't a given. I know at First Pioneers, we raised our CD rates before the Fed rates went up, and there are others that still haven't raised theirs. So I guess the best way to say it is it's a guideline, not a guarantee. If you're planning on investing in a long-term CD and you have time, you may want to watch what's going on with the federal funds rates as you make a decision as to what terms you want to choose. And besides the federal funds rates, financial institutions have internal situations to consider as well. Let's say your credit union's lending has been growing and going really well. They may need to bring in deposits to fund loans. In that case, you may see them adjust rates or offer a special to attract new deposits. On the other side of that, a financial institution, especially really large ones, may have an abundance of deposit reserves, so they don't really need to grow their deposits or their CDs. Therefore, their rates may be lower. As we said, there are many factors at play, so shop around and see what's out there. A final tip on the federal rates. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or the FDIC, actually has a chart that you can use to compare rates against the national average. It may give you a good idea of what kind of rates are available, so you may want to check that out. I want to take a minute and visit one of the advantages of a CD, and that's its safety. There are some people who prefer, when they invest, to invest in something like stocks, which comes with its own set of pros and cons, but many people are attracted to that kind of investing because when their stocks are up, they have the potential for a higher return, sometimes a big return. The risk is when they're down, you can lose not only any potential return, but your investment as well. So that type of investment comes with a certain amount of risk. A CD is a less risky investment. Your money's safe, your return is guaranteed. Granted, you won't have the potential for the extreme highs, but you also don't have the potential for the extreme lows. It's a great, safe way to save for the future. Now, of course, there's more. Did you know I was going to say that? But it's because there's actually several types of CDs besides the traditional ones we've been talking about. Depends on the financial institution of what they want to offer and what they can offer and what they'll have. I wanted to give you guys an overview of some other common types of CDs that you might see so that you're just aware of what might be available. First, there are no penalty CDs. That's where there isn't a penalty to withdraw early, but generally it will require you to withdraw the entire amount in the account if you do choose that early withdrawal. Another one is a high yield CD, which will probably have the highest interest rates in your market if you can find them. Another is a jumbo CD. Now these usually have higher deposit requirements, often $50,000 to $100,000 minimum. If there is an exception to that, you may find that with an online bank. You'll also see a slightly higher interest rate with a jumbo CD. A bump up CD may allow you to raise your interest rate during the CD term. The thing is, it's not automatic. Just because the credit union or bank raises their rates, your CD rates won't automatically raise. You would have to ask for it. Now, if you want one where your rates rise automatically, look for a step-up CD. With a step-up, your rates go up at regular intervals during the term of the CD. Some financial institutions offer add-on CDs where you can add to your deposit amount or principal during the term. You still don't withdraw without penalty, but you can add. One more type is an IRA CD. This is a CD held within an IRA, and there's a bit more to it. An IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. Some people use these with or instead of a retirement account through their job. There's a lot more to talk about with an IRA, and we're going to do that at another time. But for now, think of it like this. An IRA holds various investments for retirement. An IRA CD would be one of them. I need to be clear about something. This is not all the types of CDs that exist, but these are the ones you'll most likely see at your credit union or bank. They may offer some variation of these, but this is a good general guide to get you started. And don't forget, the agreements can vary depending on the CD type, so make sure you read those. The key is to ask questions, understand the term of the agreements, then make sure it fits with your financial plans. I want to give you guys a little bonus today. How many of you have heard of a ladder CD? I'll be honest, I was kind of older before I did, but it's actually a pretty neat way to get a better return, but have more opportunity to access your funds. Takes a little planning, but it could be worth it, especially if you have a larger amount to invest. Let me see if I can break this down for you guys. Stay with me. A CD ladder is where you divide your investment into several CDs of different term lengths with staggered maturity dates. It can be an even division of the money, or it doesn't have to be. Now, traditional CD ladder model has 5 rungs made up by the CD terms. The idea being that they increase by 1 year up to 5 years. So let's say you have $10,000 to invest. This is what it would look like. You would do $2,000 in a 1-year CD, $2,000 in a 2-year, $2,000 in a 3-year, $2,000 in a 4-year, $2,000 in a 5-year. Okay? You with me so far? Now, as the CD matures, you put that money into a new 5-year CD. The goal is after 5 years, your ladder will have 5 5-year CDs, and one of those will mature each year. So here's how that would look. You would have your $2,000, your original investment from your 1 year, plus the interest off the 1 year, and you would put that into a new 5-year. Same with the 2-year. $2,000 that you originally invested, plus the 2 years of interest that it earned, you put it in a new 5-year. You do the same thing, $2,000 plus 3 years, $2,000 plus 4 years of interest, $2,000 plus 5 years of interest. And you would do that each year as those mature. What this does is allow you to leverage the higher interest rates on the longer term CDs while you build the ladder. And you can pull out 25% of your funds from the ladder each year without penalties, because one of those CDs is going to mature each year. The idea of the ladder and what makes it work is reinvesting each sum as the CD matures. But you can always break up the ladder if something changes along the way, like your savings goals or interest rates are too low. If something like that happens, you can simply move the funds into another account, like a savings account, when it matures. Don't forget, some CDs are set up to automatically renew, so be sure to keep track of your dates and be prepared to withdraw those funds if you decide to break the ladder. Also keep in mind, you could do this for shorter terms, like a 4-year or even a 3-year ladder. Whew, that was a lot. I hope you guys stayed with me. It can really be a great plan to maximize your return, and your financial institution can help you plan that out and get those accounts open. So if there's something that you're interested in doing, maybe check it out and talk to your financial institution about getting that started. So what's the takeaway from today? A CD rate is a great way to safely earn a higher interest rate on your money, as long as you can go a period of time without access to the funds. I highly recommend you check them out as an option. And I'll say it again, if you don't understand something about your finances, ask questions. Your financial institution can help. First Pioneers has certified financial counselors on staff for this very reason. We're here, we're ready. You could also consider seeking out a financial advisor to help you look at a bigger picture if you feel you need to do that. Not all financial services are one size fits all. Find what's right for you and don't be afraid to change if your needs change. So before we go, join us for our Employee Spotlight segment where you guys get to know our First Pioneers family. And today I have Kelly joining me. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi.
Thanks so much for being here. We're so glad to visit with you today. And why don't we start with you introducing yourself to our listeners?
Sure. So my name is Kelly Brower. I am the Executive Vice President of Operations at First Pioneers Federal Credit Union. I actually have been here 16 years. I started as a part-time teller, became a full-time teller, worked in the accounting department for a while, and then moved to the operations department where I currently am.
Wow, what a great career. Okay, so let's start with your questions. What is something no one knows about you?
So a fun fact about me is that I know I said I've been here 16 years. I actually started working here when I was 16 years old. I was a senior or in between my junior and senior year of high school when I started working here. So I was still in high school, working here as a part-time teller, just freshly got my license.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so second question, how do you define success?
Success for me is about making a difference in people's lives. Even if it's just a small difference in people's lives, something as simple as making someone smile, putting a smile on someone's face for the day. Anything along those lines, just making that little bit of a difference in someone's life, seeing that you have now, after they've come in contact with you, it's made their life a little bit better, even just for a moment, even just for a few seconds where that smile appears on their face.
That's so great. And you put a smile on our face all the time. Okay, and last but not least, what is an item on your bucket list?
One of the items on my bucket list would be to be able to travel to Hawaii and Alaska. Those are the two states that I think I've always wanted to visit and never had the opportunity to. So eventually one day, my family will get to both Hawaii and Alaska, hopefully.
Yes. Well, those sound like fun.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We really enjoyed visiting with you and hearing about all your fun facts. And so for everybody out there, join us next time for another Employee Spotlight. Thank you so much for joining us today. You've just watched our YouTube version of our Money Tips No One Told You podcast. There is also a blog version on our website at firstpioneers.com. You can always find us at any of our branches in Lafayette or New Iberia, Louisiana, on our website or on any of our socials. We're here to help you in any way that we can, and we really appreciate you watching. See you next time.